Hey guys, this is Brady Nash and Jeff Vanlaninghome, and today we're going to talk about company culture and how to build it.
Hey, this is Brady Nash. Welcome to The Accidental Entrepreneur.
So I think the first thing that's important to understand is, what is company culture? For me, company culture is your energy towards each other, how you guys communicate to each other, and the consistency around culture. There's a lot of different cultures that could be good or bad, or even successful cultures that are completely different. I think the most important thing is that culture should really embody the founders, who they are and who they want the company to be, how you hire people, how you fire people, and that it's consistent. When you start trying to mix messages of who you are, whether your work ethic, your friendliness, how you treat customers, I think that's when a lot of conflict and things can happen. So I think that's the most important thing, is consistency coming from the owners. And one of the big things the exercises that you should be looking at is core values. Core values is kind of, in my mind, the first piece when you start thinking about setting a company culture and your energy. For BNG, it was, who are we? What makes us unique? Because we didn't have our core values for really years when we started the business, but we knew who we were. We searched out people that were like us, that were friendly, that were kind. That's kind of how we came up with our core values after. It was, just kind of quick hit on our core values. It was, we were dealing with payment processing and super secure information, social security numbers, bank accounts, credit card numbers, super sensitive information. So like, okay, integrity. Like, if we can't trust you, you can't be around us. That was a big deal, right? Then it was, well, geez, we don't like to have to push people. We're not micromanagers, so we needed really ambitious people. So ambition was a big core value. It's like, I want to help people. I don't want to have to motivate people every day. That was going to be exhausting. One of our other big things was excellence. Excellence was a core value for us because it's like, I don't want people that just check a box. Like, I'm not looking for what's the minimum we can do to solve a problem. I want to do the right solution and right by the customer. So excellence was a person that was going to go the extra mile. They're not looking to check a box and technically I did my job. It was the person that was going to call that customer back, explain to a customer how it happened to prevent it from happening in the future. It's that person that was going to make someone feel valued, that they cared. So excellence was a big core value. Creativity. We were a group of young entrepreneurs that dropped out of school, and it's, we're problem solvers. We work with businesses. We help businesses solve problems they haven't been able to solve. So someone that's not quick to say no, someone that was, how do you solve a problem? Even if maybe that solving that problem doesn't make sense, that, hey, at least we tried, we figured out how you could do it. Maybe, it's still too expensive, but at least you thought about how it could be done. And then the last but not least for us is probably the most important core value for me was happy and grateful. It's funny because at the time we did this, we had an employee that was really upset about this, and obviously she's not with us anymore, but was really upset with happy and grateful. And what we mean by that is we didn't want people, it's not like the world's sunshine and rainbows. It's not that bad things don't happen. It's generally someone that's grateful for what they have, that's happy, they understand the situation they're in, that it can always be worse. They're not showing up to work, they're not negative. If, the example I give was, if Jeff won the lottery, would you be happy that Jeff won the lottery? Or are you upset that, why the heck did Jeff win the lottery? I buy lottery tickets. He doesn't need the money, he makes enough money. I want people that are happy for people, that are uplifting, that don't create a toxic environment. So we always say that I don't care how smart, how talented someone is, if they're a jerk, if they're someone that's an a-hole, like, I don't want them around. And so we've looked for good people that then, okay, you can't just be a nice person. What are your skills? What are your values? And how can you help our customers? How can you help the business? But that's really it. And so those were the values of who we started looking for. It's how we kind of built the business, but it's consistency. And that happy and grateful is an interesting one because people that really don't like it, they're not a good fit. And that's a perfect thing, is they're not going to be comfortable working in our environment, and it's just not going to work out. So I'd rather have them work somewhere else, and they can be successful somewhere else that doesn't have as big of an emphasis on that. I don't know, your kind of thoughts, Jeff?
Yeah, I think when I look at companies as they try to improve upon their culture, the biggest mistake that people make is they don't really understand what culture is. And oftentimes, if you ask people to define it, you get perks, you get activities, you get a lot of different things, and they think that's their culture. Hey, we have casual Fridays, or we did a big Christmas party. And those are all extensions of culture, but they don't make culture. And ultimately, culture, as you said, it's a feeling, it's a code of conduct. And any of the companies I've worked for that I would consider to have a good culture, BNG being the best, is we do take our core values and we do try and live by them. And I think that the further we go with that, the better our culture becomes, where they're not just words on a wall. And so I always tell people that are looking to make those kind of improvements in their culture is first and foremost is to make sure that your core values are an accurate reflection of who you want to be as a company, and then you just push that all throughout into performance, into your hiring. You carve it into the planners on the front of a building so it becomes top of mind.
Right.
And then you live by it, and then
Yep.
your culture grows from that.
Yeah, I think you're exactly right. It's words are cheap. And, yes, we put it around every word that we can, but we talk about it. One of the things we did to help people to understand our values is we created a program called That's So BNG of You. It's a peer-to-peer nomination where the peers can nominate each other when they exhibit one of our core values. So excellence around, taking care of a customer, ambition, doing something that maybe wasn't in their job title, like maybe it was sweeping, the steps when they came in, or it was helping someone out with a project, because they see they needed an extra hand, or just genuinely, having a good attitude, maybe they're dealing with an issue, to really, again, bring it to life every single day in the company was a huge deal for us.
And the nice thing about that is, let's say I shout Brady out on That's So BNG of You for excellence. You feel good, for, of course, being acknowledged. But also, I'm now looking and starting to see the very things that I'm looking for: excellence, ambition, creativity. We both win. So
I think that I've been getting asked to speak a lot on this topic. The reality is yes, money matters. People need money to take care of their families. That's super important. But the big issue we're having right now is people want to feel valued. And the old school mentality sometimes, it was show up and do your damn job. It was, I'm paying you, just show up and do your work and be grateful that you have a job. Well, thankfully, especially in Fargo, North Dakota, the reality is there's lots of jobs. There's more jobs than people right now. And so when people have options, are they going to work at a place for an extra $1 an hour, or are they going to work at a place that, hey, not only can they, I can make money to pay my bills, but I actually have a place that makes me feel valued. I feel good about what I'm doing. They're invested into me. So it's, again, customers don't want to be a number. Employees don't want to be a number. They don't want to be told that, hey, get out of here, I can replace you tomorrow if I need to. Who wants to feel that way? It's the same way I look at it in a relationship. If you treated your spouse that way, do you have a good relationship? Let me tell you, I could get someone else by tomorrow. Like, of course not. And so just like you would treat your spouse, or when you first start dating someone, and hopefully you still treat your wife that way or your husband that way, is how you want to treat employees. It's, you want an employee to care about your business? Don't you think you should care about them? You want an employee to care about your customers? Don't you think you should care about them? And so a lot of the stuff for us is, again, treat others the way you want to be treated. And so we've really worked hard on a culture that doesn't just talk about it, but we live it. It's a consistent effort. It's something that as we grow and you bring in new people, you want something where they just feel it. They see it from top to bottom. So I think when you guys are looking at your cultures and who you want to be, it's what's important to you. Who are you? Who are you and who do you want to be? And does your team match that? If not, what problems is it causing? And so when you come up with your core values, it's not just a bunch of adjectives and names of stuff that sound really good to enhance and, loyalty and trust and ambition. There's all these words that can sound great, but who is it? Who are you looking for? And is it something that you can write down and describe if someone doesn't have that value, that they're not a good fit, or how you're going to address it if they're not showing excellence or ambition or, trust? Again, trust is something I don't know how you could work with anyone if you don't trust them from a customer level, a relationship level, right? That's a big one for me.
The other thing, Brady, we found in a previous company I was with is, and I'm assuming a question on a lot of people's mind is, what if we have a bad culture? What if we, are in existence, but how do you change it? And one thing we learned is a lot of people tend to have two codes of conduct. You have who you are personally, and then you have who you are when you walk into work. And oftentimes they're very, very different. When I'm at home, I help my neighbor out, I give of myself, I try and be altruistic, and then I come into work, and suddenly I think that there's a new set of rules that apply. Now I got to be cutthroat, I got to get ahead, I've got money to make. And one of the things that we discovered for those companies that maybe don't know who they are, what they want to be per se, who are you in your personal life? Who is it that you try and be, and why can't you be that way in business. And I know one of the things that I really appreciate about BNG is that we are very authentic in how we go about business and how we handle ourselves as to, I think, who we are individually as well. And so, you know.
Yeah, I think you're right. I just, can you get people that are being authentic?
Yeah.
You don't want people, and it's tough. You know, we do our best. We go through an interview process, but we're trying to find people that authentically fit our core values. They aren't trying to game us. I'd be lying if I said we've always been 100% on that. There's been some people that have got through that I thought were great people, and we found out later they weren't, and we had to address that. We've had to let people go for various reasons that weren't meeting our standards or hitting our values, and that's not fun. But it's also not fun to have people like that in your business. You know, so the pain, it's a lot less to you know, cut that out than to let it linger.
So what would you say some things are that people can do right now to improve their culture?
I think the most important thing is if you don't have core values written out of who you are and who you want to be, you got to get that. Figure out your core values. I think obviously it depends on your size of the company, but how you're going to roll that out, how you're going to live by it. We do our, you know, our one-on-ones. We do quarterly reviews, monthly reviews, and we have a checklist. We follow Traction, the EOS process. If you guys aren't familiar with the book Traction, highly recommend it. Written by Gino Wickman. And so they have a really good plan around one-on-ones and if they're hitting their core values, plus, minuses. So it allows you to address if someone's falling short in one or two areas. You don't immediately fire someone if they're, hey, they didn't resemble, you know, excellence every time, but it allows you to address, hey, this is where you fall short, this is where I need you to improve. That would be a big one for me. And I think, you know, I would argue, I don't care what your business is, I think the biggest thing to improve culture is to treat people the way you want them to treat your business. If you're a business owner, if you're a manager, I think you need to be the first one to reach out and show them empathy, show them authenticity. Again, how do you expect them to care about your business? That's your dream. If you don't care about them, get to know people. It's amazing how much harder people will actually care if they actually feel like you care. I think that's universal in my mind. So hopefully this helped you around culture. There's lots of other topics and ways to implement this, but we didn't want to make it too long. So hopefully you guys enjoyed it, and I look forward to talking to you guys about other topics in the future. Don't forget to subscribe, like the video, and comment any feedback that you have for us, and we'll see you next time.